Welcome back to Truth Quest. My name is Aaron Moriarty. I will be your host. We're going on a quest for truth together. Hello, everybody out there in TV land. Wow, let's see who we got here. Out there in TV land, out there in chat land. That's a subdivision of TV land. It's a very special place. And we got Peggy Dancer. Welcome to the program. And we got Mud Rabbit. Welcome to the program. And yes, Tiger Lilies. I took that photo myself. And Catherine Weiss. Welcome to the program. Good friend of the program. Let's see. And Ahmad, Ultra Mod. And we got Operation Shutdown. Why, we're just downrange of strange. Where the outrageous is contagious. And the paranormal is always the new normal here at the Truth Quest. Yes, indeedy. We are just downrange of strange. Somebody has to be, right? That's right. Hope you're all doing well tonight. It's a great Friday night here. And we got snow. So we got that white stuff. So that's something to deal with. Here goes another year where, gosh, am I going to tough it through another year with that broken shovel, or will I get a new shovel? That's the question. We don't know yet. It's an ongoing saga. It's like an old beat-up shovel, but it still works, you know? Still works. Sort of. Needs a little fixing. So there you go. Like everything else. Alrighty, Aphrodite. Well, guess what, folks? I think my Facebook page may have been hacked. And I don't know, but this thing pops up. And, you know, if something pops up, I'm leery right away. I don't care what it says. I'm leery. So this is what I got. Let me know what you think in the chat there. But this is what I got. So all of a sudden, my screen is just this: turn on Facebook Protect to unlock your account. Okay, I got this just the other day. All right. It says my account's been locked on December 8th. Well, no, it hasn't. I've been on it since then. Been posting on it. How could it be locked? So I see this as a scam. Some hackers hacked into my account. Now they want more personal information. So they make it look like I'm just signing up for more protection when in reality, I'm giving it all away. What do you think? What do you guys think of that? Oh, the music. That's right. We're missing the music, aren't we now? There we go. Doing a little night driving. So let's see what the chat people have to say. Yes, we'll keep you in our thoughts, Peggy. So yeah, hello, Dark Brain. Yeah, you know, I probably spend too much time on Facebook anyway. Maybe it's time to just not go onto it. But I don't know if I've been hacked or if this is something that's happening to everybody on Facebook. It just looks a little bit suspicious to me, you know? Greetings, buddy. just a little bit suspicious. Seems like some sort of fishing operation. You know what I'm saying? Prayers continue each day, dear friend. Here's our good buddy Dark Brain. Yeah, I don't know what to think about this. But that's how I keep in touch with a lot of people, and people who I have on the show. So I don't know. I'm on MeWe now. Have you ever been on MeWe? Gosh, my name is Aaron Moriarity on MeWe. So look me up. Let's see. I don't know if this is what I put in there for that. This is my MeWe. I don't know if I'm going to be on there very much. I haven't been. But so if you're one of my Facebook friends, you're wondering where I am, go check me out on MeWe or on Truth Social or Twitter. So there you go. So that's that. No more Facebook for a while until I figure that out. I don't like being forced into anything, I did some searching. There's some videos from like 8 months ago saying that they were Facebook was emailing higher profile sites to get involved in this program. Now, I never received an email, and I don't have a high profile site. I only have 700 friends. That's it. So, but the latest drop on Twitter, number 6, the Twitter files, they talk about how they were spending an inordinate amount of time and effort and manpower on very small accounts with election jokes and memes rather than focusing on child exploitation sites, which apparently there's tons of them. So they could have been working on that. No. They had to go to these very small, unbelievable. It's just remarkable. It's like those write and wipe boards. It's very remarkable. Don't you think? Oh, I think. So here is a nice little graphic that kind of shows, let's see if I can make that any bigger. See if I can make it as big as I can make it. So you can see a little better. So here you got, okay, here's Elon. It's time to follow me down the Twitter rabbit hole. Because Elon posted, follow the rabbit. It wasn't exactly the white rabbit, it was kind of a gray rabbit, but symbolism was there. And they're starting to call him Q Elon. How do you like that? They're kind of poking fun at him. They're trying to, it's ridiculous what they're doing. So you go down the rabbit hole, what do you find here? Oh, Twitter banned Trump and his supporters for no reason, right? No reason at all. They just did it because they could. All right. Dorsey lied to Congress. Censorship? No. Bans? No. Well, yes, there was. And the whole time, they're going after small little misinfo sites and covering up Biden laptop and then letting this kind of crap go unchecked and growing and growing and growing. Horrible for the children, horrible for our future. Listen, folks, what happens to our children happens to our future, okay? So we have to get this stopped, Okay, and down here, treason. Here's the FBI, and there's looks like Brandon there. You ban who we tell you to ban. FBI. That's right. Twitter call. Treason. Yeah, that's looks like it. Yeah, we couldn't question your science, and it was all lies. Yeah. From the pits of hell, these people, this is where they hail from. So it seems, by all their actions. So I think that's it's a Ben Garrison cartoon, and it really lays it out quite nicely. Quite nicely. Send your inquiries, photos, videos, and stories to Aaron. Share on the show. There it is. Snail mail. HG&P, P.O. Box 711, Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, 54235. There's the old snail mail. I always like to get things in there. You know, I got a P.O. box, and I live in town here. Now, if you live in town here, you get a free newspaper from Peninsula Pulse, which is nice. It comes Fridays. Got mine today. I haven't even got it yet. But I get one at the post office too in my P.O. box. No way to stop it. I think that's a waste of paper. So I get two papers. So I guess I could put them side by side and read them both simultaneously. That might work. So I thought that was a pretty good one. What's next? Oh, look at that. FBI. Yeah. The little bird told me. We told the little bird what to do. We told the bird what to do. Yes, we did. We sure did. We're gonna need a bigger hoax. That's right, pencil neck. Pencil neck, needle nose, noodleman. I think that's what they call him in Congress there, don't they? Pencil neck. Watermelon head, is that what they call it? Affectionately? Yeah, he just, I don't know, man. The creep meter just goes off when I see this guy. You know? We've got evidence, solid evidence, irrefutable evidence that never really came out because it wasn't ever really there. So, yeah. We know you're a thing there, dude. It's not that good. No. And there I am, locked out. And here are some of the Twitter accounts that the FBI told this Elvis guy to take a look at it there. This is all coming out, folks. These are all real documents. Oh, it looks like we got Circles Smith. Hello, Circles. Welcome to the program. Well, thank you. Hello, Aaron and all. Sorry, haven't been in a while. Just popped in to say thank you for holding the line and sending love and light to you where we go when we go out. Yes, heart, heart, heart. Thank you, Circles. Where we go when we do go all. Yes, we do. Yes, indeed. That's right. Now, did you hear a ruling has been made in the Kerry Lake lawsuit against Maricopa County in regards to ballot inspection? The judge has granted in part Lake's request to analyze ballots with certain stipulations. So I guess that's good. I don't know if, I hope they can just reverse that whole thing or redo it with eyes on, like live coverage of all of the stuff. Make sure there's no shenanigans. Yeah, it's crazy. Hmm. So I'm not wasting time. I'm not spending any time on Facebook anymore since I'm not on there. Can't get on there. Ask your doctor if a drug with 1,291 side effects listed on 32 pages, including blood clots, strokes, and heart attacks, is right for you. Yeah. Well, I was listening to an episode of Altered State on Badlands Media over there on Rumble with Brad Colodro guest and our good buddy Red Pill 78, Zach Payne, the corruption detector. And they're talking about World War I and the propaganda to get us into that war and how they figured out exactly, because words are weapons and words can get you into a war. Just words. So yeah, and one thing they found out is, just put someone in a lab coat and say they're an official, they're a doctor, and they found something. And this is what, and you can get them to believe anything. You put a guy in a lab coat and he says anything, and people believe it, or they used to. I think that's fading a little bit now. I think they overplayed their hand. Do you think? I think, everyone's saying hi to Mr. Circles. They're running circles around him here. Look at that. It's awesome. Oh yeah, those Trump cards. I guess they sold out in record time. Everyone was making fun of it. Now they're going, whoa, that was pretty good. Plus his speech on the First Amendment was really good too, on what he's going to do on his first day in office. He said, when I'm inaugurated. He didn't say what year that would be, right? Which I thought was pretty good. Pretty interesting. Interesting, some may say. Okay, here's some important things to remember about COVID-19, because we're getting back into that season, of course. It can travel 6 feet. It cannot travel 6 feet 1 inch or greater. Okay, it can only go 6 feet. Then I don't know. It just does a nosedive. It can live on all surfaces except anything that comes in the mail from Amazon. It does not live in Target, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, or any grocery store. It's harmless in protest, riots, and looting. It is only deadly in bars, restaurants, small business, hair salons, and it cannot live on your food as long as you get it to go. I think they forgot churches too, because didn't they close down? They tried to close down churches. It's absolutely despicable. They kept strip joints open, but they closed churches. I mean, come on. Sodom and what? Hello? Hello? Unreal. I'm telling you. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. We're going to put this in the old chat box over here. And if you want to call in, talk about, what I want to talk about here is now in the truth community, there's all kinds of uproar because someone, and I believe illegally, leaked part of a deposition that Corey Goode was subpoenaed to make. And now this is a legal deposition that's filmed. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but it just seems like something that shouldn't be made public. And if it's made public, make the whole thing public and not just certain parts that you want to emphasize. And then Corey put out a video kind of rebutting it, and it's something else. I mean, this is, he said that 70% of the truther community is all love and light and wonderful people, but the rest are just crazy and toxic. So the video that he does in rebut is a very good one. I highly recommend it. He's walking, down this path, and he's making this video, talking very honestly about everything. In the deposition, see what they're trying to do is they're trying to steal Corey's story. Now, when he was at Gaia, you might remember he was in something called Cosmic Disclosure. It was very popular, and it caused Gaia to go through the roof. I mean, they became like the new Netflix. A lot of people came onto there because of that show. David Wilcock and Corey Goode. And Corey was talking about his testimony about allegedly being in the secret space program, 20 and back program. And so what happened was Gaia TV said, okay, we're going to bring in other people, with similar stories, and we're going to build on this. And Corey's like, what are you talking about? They were just bringing in people who didn't have the experiences to try and capitalize on it. They are also trying right now to get all of the rights from Corey and David to own all that stuff, all the story and everything. So they made $300 million off of his story, $300 million, and they want it all for themselves. So they want to make him, if they can get him on camera to say that he really did meet an 8-foot-tall blue avian, they could call him crazy and take over his IP. So he's not going to say that in a deposition. And I don't think people realize that. I have a background in the toy business, in invention, toy invention, intellectual property. And so I understand this. Most people watching that deposition wouldn't understand a lot of that. But in order for him to protect his story, which came from him, his life experiences, he has to say these things in order to be able to protect his property, or they can rip it right from him. And it's worth a lot of money. And it's a really good story. And it's based on his real experiences. Even though he can't say that on camera in a deposition because he would be deemed crazy. Do you understand? That's the way I'm reading it. Okay, dang. I'd call in, but my phone is dead. Dan Winter and Gaia is not to be trusted. Yes, I do not trust anything. You know, I remember when Cosmic Disclosure came out, and I never belonged to Gaia. It was Gaiam before it was Gaia. And all my friends were joining it. Oh, you should join. Oh, yeah, here's my number. You can use it and we'll watch shows, and you should join. And I'm like going, I kind of looked at the other shows, and I don't know what it was. I can't tell you what it was, but I just got this creepy feeling about this place. I had the feeling that, wow, how can they allow this story of Corey's to go out like this? Because he's dropping a lot of what seems like big secret truth bombs. How can they allow this? Well, they've taken them all down now because they're trying to rip this from him. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know, man. Well, yeah, he has to say that, because if he does, there's no public admission that there was a secret space program. So if he admits that under oath, he can be called crazy. And they can take this from him. He'll be penniless on the streets. Then they'll be telling his story with other people. Yeah, yeah. I feel really bad for him. I mean, they had no right putting that out there, and they had no right going after him like this. Really, they don't. He's got a RICO case against them. Watch his. You know what? I'll find it up here. Let's go this site again. That's how Ascension works. That's what it is. Sphere Being Alliance. Yeah. Okay, here it is. I got it. It's Corey responds to Leon Isaac Kennedy's deposition leak. Okay, so it's 36 minutes, and I think you watch it, you'll understand. You'll kind of understand his point of view a little more. But yeah, I just think there's always more than what is being revealed. And he said that the other part of that deposition was the extremely damaging part to the other side that isn't included. So it's like I said, if they catch him, I'm sure his lawyers said, look, you can't say that you went in space. Even if you did, you can't say it, because they can say you're crazy, and they can lock you up, drug you up, and take your family and your IP, and you'll be penniless. Uh-oh, we got some bots here. Okay. Did we get the bots? I hope we got the bots. Oh my goodness. See, that stuff shouldn't even be on the internet. That's my opinion. I just don't think that it should. So call in if you want and talk about this if you want to. I mean, and look, it's Austin Morris. Welcome to the program, buddy. And James Rohrbach. Welcome to the program. You know what? Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Hello, buddy. Let's see here. There's a call in right there. It's in the chat. Oops, it's not the one I wanted. You know what? I think it's time we heard from one of our sponsors. So, you want to look stylish, you want to look cool, you want to look hip. When you go to the mall next time, look for this, because when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. And you look cool too, with lens crackers.
Here at Lens Crackers, we can crack your fine, high-quality eyewear in less than an hour. Our trained technicians use only the best equipment to crack your fine quality eyewear. So remember, Lens Crackers, we can crack them in less than an hour.
Manly for the well-groomed man of the 90s. Manly gently removes unsightly nose hairs, and because Manly takes the hair from the root, you can go longer between trimmings. Manly's patented lift and yank action gently lifts and yanks the hair from the root. Manly's turbine rotary blades cast a gentle breeze over your face. Manly for the well-groomed man of the 90s. Sold at fine stores everywhere.
Manly.
Manly, for the well-groomed man of the 90s.
And there you have it. How do you like that? We've heard from two of our sponsors. Well, as you can see, I've been to Lens Crackers myself, and I got to say, more people stop and ask questions. It's a conversation starter. What happened to your glasses? Oh. Nothing happened to them. Why I went to Lens Crackers. Why do I go to Lens Crackers? Because it helps Truth Quest with Aaron Moriarity, my favorite show. And why wouldn't it be? Any show that lets me be their host, that's my favorite show. There you go. And that's my unbiased opinion. In my humble opinion, Truth Quest with Aaron Moriarity is the finest show. In my humble opinion. There you go. That's my humble opinion. Hello, Metaverse. Good to see you here. Feeling so stylish in my Lens Cracker glasses. Professionally cracked by the people at Lens Crackers. Yes. You have crypto? I don't have any crypto. However, I do have all of that other. There's another different kind of currency that I'm investing in currently, and I revealed that in the last show. I think it's pretty out of the bag now. Yes, I'm collecting it's money that you can purchase at an extreme discount because it has little value right now. But will that value go up? Who knows? So I'm placing all my bets on Monopoly money because you can get thousands of dollars every time you buy a game. You get, hey, they might switch to that. This is not investment advice. No, it's just a joke. Okay, if you don't know, it's just a joke. Yes, just a joke. Just a joke. Like most things here on this show, we do drop truth bombs, but we intermix it with lots of humorous stuff, or we try. Yeah, I don't have any crypto yet either, no. What was that guy? The Crypt guy? There was a show, Tales by the Crypt or something. He should have his own crypto. Crypto. Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, you got the name, right? You might as well just go for it. You might as well just go for it. You might as well, right? We're coming up on a delta, folks. And I might have to change my glasses for this. We're coming up on a delta, and I think it's a pretty cool one. Here's a meme that I made a while ago, actually. Check it out. Yes, a Truth Quest meme. Shot heard round the world. The shot heard around the world. The Great Awakening, a week to remember. So this was January 21st, 2018. That's a 4-year delta coming up. What do you think? And we got all these Twitter files coming out. You know, prosecute Fauci was something that Elon Musk tweeted out a couple days ago, and saying that the Fauci files are coming next. So the shot heard around the world. What do you think? Yeah, I think it was a great move by him. And Red Pill almost predicted it. He said, "Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a graphic novel touting the achievements of Trump in a graphic novel." So he almost called it right on there. Trump will use the media. He's a media master. He is a master at getting lots of eyes on. And what happened when all those eyes came on? That thing sold out. That blockchain, collectible digital cards, whatever they are. And I bet you their value is going to go up, 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 up. And it's a great way for him to make some money. I mean, he lost $2 billion running for president. I'd love to see him make a lot of money, because he would do some awesome things with it. That's right. I agree with you there, James. Because it's something, you know, like that Aussie guy on the lighter side of genocide. No, there is no lighter side of genocide. It's a horrible thing. no matter how you slice it, right? NTFs. Yeah, they're called NTFs. Not for thee. NTF. Not for thee. Yeah, and it wasn't his own company; it was some other company. So they paid him. They must have given him a some sort of hey, we'll give you a couple 100,000 or $500,000 if we can use your likeness, and we'll give you a percentage of the sales. Okay, that's probably the way it went down. Well, I heard that some JFK stuff dropped. I heard some JFK stuff did drop. I saw a little bit, and I just didn't have time to look into it. This Christmas, maybe? I think there's going to be a lot. Yeah, I don't feel too much out of it, Austin. I don't know either. I do know what NFL stands for, though. NFL stands for No Fans Left. Yes, no fans left. Non-fungible token. Non-fungible token. Yeah, you don't want the fungible kind. You won't want someone fungibling around with your tokens. You don't want that. Colum could probably get a hold of it that way, right? And then you'll have fur on the top of your feet. Before you know it, you'll be 3 foot tall. And you're on some kind of quest. There you go. You'll be on that quest. Okay, well, I guess we'll watch that at some point. Thanks. A fungible amungible. There's a fungus among us. There's something. Yeah. Why not? Well, why don't they do one that has to do with mushrooms? Some sort of cryptocurrency that's tied into mushrooms. Is there a way to do that? Non-fungicidable? Would that work? I'm not sure how these things work. I'm not sure how they work. Non-fungible token, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot? Yeah, that's about it. Oh, thanks, James. I've bookmarked it. All right. So there you go. That's a meme I made a while ago. Because we don't know what they're talking about in these memes. You know, the shot heard around the world. Maybe it was that shot. Maybe. Sure was heard around the world, wasn't it? It was devastating around the world, too. People don't even realize it still. Some of them walking around getting their 5th or 6th. Terrible. Terrible. It's like perforated paper. It's terrible. Just like perforated paper. Very terrible. Oh, everything's a rich man's trick. Oh, yeah, I've seen that too. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Oh, yeah. Okay, what else do we got here for you? Here's another meme I made a long time ago. I think a friend of mine contributed to this. but I did all the peppies. I had included digital soldiers just to signify non-combative. Just digital soldiers. There you go. That was locked out. Locked out! Can you believe it? I can't even believe it, but I was locked out. Locked out of Facebook. They're trying to force me to do something, and I don't like being forced to do some things. Anythings. You know? But yeah, here's, I guess, some of these. Some of these cards, digital cards. These are just the images. Get that one. All right, that's pretty cool. There he is. He's out hunting. That looks a bit photoshopped. What do you think? What do you think? He's the everyman. He's the everyman. There he is in his full regalia. Look at that. He's a lot more in shape when he's got his uniform on there. After a workout, probably. 45 on his boots there. Pretty cool. That is a cool number to be, 45, if you're going to be a number. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Look at that. He's got the boxing gloves on. And, oh, you've seen him in those wrestling. Oh, he's a go-getter. Oh, zooming in his belt buckles and sleeves full of comms? Okay. It might be, yeah. Let's see. Is there another one? No. Oh, this is funny. Check this out. I can't guarantee many things in life, but this guy definitely has a dinosaur. Ah! Hey, give me that hood over there. I'm going to make a sign so people stop bugging us. We don't have a dinosaur. Yes, you do. Now open up. We know you get what you got, man. Open up. Open up, I say. If someone's going to go to the trouble of making a sign like that, you can guarantee they do have a dinosaur. Let's just call a spade, okay? Don't you think? Oh, it looks like we have a caller. And it's Austin Morris. Welcome to the program, buddy.
Hello, Aaron. Can you hear me?
I can certainly hear you, yes.
Ah, great. No echoes this time. I actually did something right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, just calling to a few comments here and there. Something I said the last time I called, I said that, you had this philosophical fault line in America from its beginning, and this is what has led to some of our current problems. It's occurred to me that this little fault line manifested itself right at the very beginning, the writing of the Declaration of Independence.
Oh,
you've got a line in the document right here. It says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men." Well, the original wording of that, written by Thomas Jefferson, he said the rights were life, liberty, and property. That was his wording. Of course, he's the slave-owning guy from Virginia who's got the big estate, the rich guy. So life, liberty, and property is what's important. Now, this got changed in the final draft at the insistence of Benjamin Franklin. And it's Franklin who coined life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as the unalienable rights of human beings. Now, that phrase, pursuit of happiness, that's sort of paraphrased from the philosophy of a guy that evidently practically no one has heard of, but the German philosopher Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz.
Okay.
Leibniz lived in the late 17th or early 18th century, and he seems to have been, his ideas about human progress seem to have been the inspiration for Benjamin Franklin's ideas about progress.
Mm.
And this concept of the pursuit of happiness, that means you may be working your fingers to the bone, you may be very unhappy, but you're doing it, say, for your family and your community, for your country. That's the pursuit of happiness. It means doing what leads to the best result, what is the optimal result in life and living. And that's more important than property. That's more important than living in luxury on a plantation. And that was what Franklin believed, what Franklin lived his life all about. And that's what got written into the final draft of the document. And life, liberty, and property is really more characteristic of the philosophy of people like John Locke and others who were English philosophers who were important people with the things like the British East India Company and Britain's colonial policies. It's really more characteristic of the enemies of our country. Whereas the idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness meaning you work to help your family, your community, your people. You do what's best for the country, what's best for them. And that may mean sacrificing your happiness temporarily, but it's greater happiness in the long run than narrow hedonistic concerns. And the philosophy of English empiricism teaches that good means pursuing pleasure and evil means pain. What causes you pain? Or they try to reduce human behavior down to this animal level, whereas Franklin and Leibniz and probably Plato, Jesus of Nazareth are all urging people to be better people, to work for their communities, to help them to live for family and for greater things, for a higher vision of the human potential and the human soul.
Service to others.
Well, yeah, but service, the idea of that being a higher purpose, a higher goal, and that the human being is defined as something created in the image of the Creator, meaning the creative human mind is when we see creativity occurring, when we see the artist creating, when we see anything that's being brought into being, it's an imitation of the Creator creating the universe. And it's a sign that a human being is greater than just a human being. Is not an ape with an opposable thumb. We're better than that. We're greater than that. But the English empiricist, the utilitarian, the more narrow materialistic philosophies will not admit that. And that's the philosophical conceptual fault line that runs through our culture.
Okay.
At least is what I gather. Because Jefferson said life, liberty, and property, and he got corrected.
Well, I mean, property could mean like your car or your house, or that's a valuable thing too. I mean, couldn't they have included it in life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness? I mean,
Well, yeah, you could have made a little more complex statement of it, but Franklin got it, distilled it down to the essence. But that's sort of that little incident about the drafting of the Declaration of Independence and the difference in the wording. To me, that's the whole difference put into kind of a nutshell. It's the whole conflict in miniature.
yeah.
One tries to speak to narrow materialistic concerns, and the other is concerned with the soul, with the greater good.
Well, but I mean, when you say property, it just doesn't necessarily only just mean slaves. I mean, it could mean your home, you want to leave it to your kids. And if it's denied you the ability to do that, then that's not going to help your family in the long run. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I don't know.
Anyway, that's where it just sort of occurred to me that you had quite a difference between differing points of view, right? Just at the very, very 0 point beginning of the country, right when it's like a little pebble dropped in the pond, spreading its waves. That moment, that instant of creation that brought the country into being was. There's this difference, this philosophical divide, even then.
Did you hear the story that when they were writing that there was a voice that came from like above, like from the balcony or from second floor, that told them because they were going to not do it, and they said, no, this must be written and it must be done, and they couldn't find anybody after they finished it?
That I haven't come across that story. No, I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, I hadn't either. It sounded intriguing. I don't know the validity of it, but I'll have to do some research on that. But there's so much we don't know. And, that's why I'm really intrigued by Andrew's testimony about the chronovisor, because, gosh, if we had that thing, we could check all these points in history. We could, find out things that we never knew about true history. I think that would be just a revelation.
Yeah, I've heard that there's the chronovisor was the device that supposedly the Jesuit, I don't know if he's Jesuit, but the priest named Father Ernetti had allegedly invented in Italy,
right?
Based on sound technology.
Yeah.
And then there's a second device that some people recently were talking about that was supposed to be a much larger installation that had been developed in secret in this country, and it was kind of like the description reminded me of the machines you see on Stargate SG-1.
Oh, like
I've forgotten what that other one was called.
The Looking Glass?
Looking Glass, yeah, the Looking Glass, which is kind of the chronovisor on steroids.
Well, they did. Now, Andrew's dad talked about an 8-sided bismuth crystal that they would shoot the EMF signal to, and that would cascade down a holographic image of that past event into the lab, so you could enter it and immerse yourself into that past time. So it was a much more elaborate thing, and they called it the Looking Glass.
Oh, okay.
That might be.
I've got to read more of Andrew's work, because I haven't kept up with it.
But get this. So Andrew was talking about this for years, about this 8-sided bismuth crystal that his dad said that he developed for the chronovisor, for the fourth dimensional chronovisor. And then this English researcher, he was searching through the patent files, and he found Andrew's dad's name related to an 8-sided bismuth crystal in a patent, in a prior arts part of this patent. The patent it was citing was top secret and couldn't be accessed, but the fact that his name is on there and it's related to an 8-sided bismuth crystal, and it's in the patent record. So that's years after he was claiming this. So it's verification that his dad was telling him this.
And that this would be a key technology for the Looking Glass then.
Right.
Now, of course, a friend of mine, a mutual friend of both of us, suggested that there's a whole potential technology out there based on the mu mesons and the pi mesons replacing electrons. But I can't follow that. I don't follow physics closely enough to be able to explicate that to any degree.
Yeah, me either.
But I could. Those particles were discovered back in the 40s and 50s, or even earlier. So there's been time. Someone like Andrew's father could have been working with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole subject matter of classified patents, that eats away at me sometimes, because
I know
I've heard stories.
Yeah.
There was a guy named Gabriel Crone years and years ago. I think he passed away in 1966, but he was supposedly a terrifically prolific, brilliant inventor whose inventions are mostly classified top secret. There was a writer named Joseph Farrell who wrote a book suggesting that Gabriel Crone had been one of the key figures in the Philadelphia experiment of 1943.
Mm.
But I have not been able to correlate this to find. See, when somebody says something, you can't just believe it because they said it. You've got to look for some kind of parallel or confirmation type facts, and I've not been able to find much.
And
other than proof that this guy did exist and he was considered a genius.
Okay.
He was an electrical engineer, and his story kind of reminds me of Tesla. He seemed to have a innate talent for really complicated problems. Gabriel Crone was a great admirer of Einstein. He was a Jewish guy from Europe who immigrated to the United States. He was a great admirer of Albert Einstein, and he devoted himself to studying the type of mathematics Einstein was using in the relativity theory, the tensor calculus, the same type of tensor calculus. And he applied that math to problems of electrical power grids. That is, he could create a mathematical model of the power grid and model various points of failure when something goes wrong, and use this modeling to improve distributed power systems. And Gabriel Crone was highly honored for this, but he did classified work also, and nothing that he did, the things he did are still classified today. And Gabriel Crone's golden years of creativity were the 30s and 40s. So whatever he did might be worth finding out more about. Not that I know where you could look or how you could look into something that's you do wonder why it's still classified.
Gabriel Crone.
K-R-O-N. Gabriel Crone. He was from Hungary. And he worked, well, he like I say, he passed away in 1966. I don't recall when he was born.
68.
Oh, 68. Okay.
1901 he was
born.
Born.
It was the 60s. That's what happens to facts in my mind. I like to be able to believe I keep the basic truths and just get the little details biffed a little here or there. But
I got something here. Let's see what
it's an interesting character, and I like characters. When a man's life starts to look like the lifetime of some science fiction story character, I get interested.
There he is.
He supposedly invented something called a negative resistor. That's some type of free energy gadget.
Yeah, negative energy. Yeah. I think I did read about this guy.
But it
was interesting.
Profiled in Joseph P. Farrell's book about the Philadelphia experiment and Einstein's unified field theory.
It's something really simple that they had to bury, and they because you know what? There's something about this that just always really something about electricity that something's not right. Something's not right. So I think this guy might have been the guy that, I don't know. So what do you know about his method, this negative energy?
Well, that's just it. The negative resistor, the resistor, it's supposed to be. It's just rumored to be something he invented. Joseph Farrell commented on it, and it was patented in the 1940s and is still secret.
Wow.
And the anecdotes about this guy are just little tidbits like that. And Joseph Farrell is another one of those writers who has a lot of interesting things to say, but there's very little that he can actually out and out prove. In that respect, it catches my attention and holds it, but a bit frustrating if you're looking to prove something. You're looking for frustration if you follow my path there.
Here it is. Lockridge, The Secret to Free Energy Will Kill You by Gabriel Crone.
Oh, I didn't know he wrote a book. Huh.
Top secret. Interesting, huh?
Yeah, that's...
Wow.
Oh, there was a thing like that published.
Now, my uncle, Lynn, is a doctor of mathematics. He's a very interesting guy to talk to about stuff like this. That's interesting. Wow.
The Philadelphia experiment book that Joseph P. Farrell wrote, he was intrigued by the fact that Gabriel Crone had worked on applying. Crone idolized Einstein, and he worked on applying Einstein's 1929 unified field theory paper for problems in electrical engineering. Now, the unified field theory is always assumed to be, I mean, the official, if you go to a library and check out some biography of Einstein, it's going to tell you that 1929 theory was a flat out failure. It was Einstein's biggest embarrassment, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
But Gabriel Crone didn't think so. Gabriel Crone's not exactly, I mean, he would be qualified to judge, which is more than one could say of me. So that's the type of loose end dangling in history that Joseph P. Farrell likes to pick up and examine.
Yeah. Interesting.
In his works.
Interesting.
He's one of the best conspiracy theory authors you can find. Joseph P. Farrell.
Joseph P. Farrell.
He has a website. Let's see, what's it called? The Giza Death Star website.
Giza Death Star?
It was something like that. That was Joseph P. Farrell's first conspiracy theory book. Contended that the Great Pyramid of Giza was an ancient structure built long before ancient Egypt that we know existed.
Wow.
And it was some kind of energy, directed energy device created by the ancients for some ancient war. Supposedly, the planet between Mars and Jupiter got blown to bits in this war, and Mars got pretty heavily cratered.
Right.
And that was the Giza Death Star. This was the name of his first book, and he has a Giza Death Star website where he comments on contemporary events.
Interesting.
Fascinating character, because he's one of those authors. He will try to convince you with footnotes and bibliography. I mean, he does the work well. He's not like me. I'm more or less an armchair conspiracy theorist, whereas Joseph P. Farrell walks the walk, talks the talk, and writes the book.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, looks like we got Yvonne's joined us here. Hello there, Yvonne. Welcome to the program. All right. Yeah, and for all the people who maybe came in a little later, if you're normally friends with me on Facebook, haven't seen me on there, it's because I think I got my Facebook hacked. Or they're trying to force me into something, and I'm not going to do it. So I'm not going to be on Facebook for a while. So find me on MeWe, Aaron Moriarty. But yeah, that's got a lot of memes on my Facebook page. Hope to someday to get to it, because I got a lot of memes on there, and that's pretty important stuff these days. Memes. That's what I'm saying. I got a package in the mail from my mother, and I want to thank her if she's watching. Thank you, Mom. The cookies are delicious.
I guess you didn't see the little comment I made in the chat about your mother's duck statues.
No, I didn't.
Well, I was thinking you should get, of course, for little dolls and things, you could get little bitty pairs of glasses, get some glasses for the ducks, and you would have lens quackers.
Lens quackers. Oh, there you go. That'd be kind of cute. Yeah.
See, nowadays the lenses are perfectly clear, and it's the world around you that's gotten cracked.
Exactly. Isn't that the truth? Yeah. Of course, it's a play off the old lens crafters, that we all used to like. We can craft your fine, high quality eyewear in less than an hour, but I just couldn't leave that alone. I wanted to make a commercial too, a fake commercial like that about NutriCancer. Remember NutraSweet? I would call it NutriCancer.
Ugh. No, that's not exactly. It's not something I joke about. I would joke about. That's a little too. It reminds me of the whole morbidity in our culture nowadays. That TV series called Walking Dead.
Oh, I've never watched that. No, I never would watch that.
It's one of the most powerful dramas ever on television, but it's so damn gory, I can't stand it.
Yeah,
it's the explicit gore and violence, and explicit gruesome gore and violence, and the whole dark tone of it. It's utterly hopeless.
Yeah.
And it's just to
trash.
me, it is unwatchable.
It's trash. Trash.
Well, it's got all kinds of acclaim for the acting and the just the dramatic intensity of it. But that's, to me, when I sit down in front of a television, it's after I've been at work and I come home tired,
mm-hmm.
and I don't want a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
What I really want is a beer and just a chance to put my feet up. Not that ever happens, but that's what I want.
Yeah.
The television entertainment has got to be a little lighter in tone than that kind of thing. At least, I mean,
it just keeps getting worse and worse. I stopped watching TV in the 90s, and I'm really glad that I did, because it's gone so far downhill now. I mean, even the commercials, some of the ones I see, and it's just, who wants to see that? I mean,
yeah, I fell into a trap with that, and this probably other people have had this experience, but I years ago, some time ago, I bought the large screen type flat screen TV, and but invested a lot of money in it, so I can't give up television. I've put too much effort in it. It dominates the room I'm in. It's ridiculous, but here I am. But there are channels that specialize in older TV series. Like,
mm-hmm.
I've even gotten to where one thing I never liked when I was younger was Perry Mason. And I'm watching those nowadays.
I bet those are good. I mean, those are dramatic. Even the lighting and everything, very well done. The music.
There's one character that fascinates me because of the sheer silliness of this impression I had. The police Lieutenant Tragg, who's the homicide detective. Every episode he arrests somebody and he's convinced they're guilty and the person is utterly innocent, and usually it's a real good looking woman. but Inspector Tragg, the actor they hired, his facial expression, he always looks like a tomcat that just ate your favorite canary. He's got a little cat smile on the corners of his mouth, a wrinkled face, and he just looks like a tomcat that's eating your favorite bird. The tomcat's real happy and proud, and you're not happy. that's my impression of Lieutenant Tragg, the cat that ate the canary.
That's funny.
But anyway, that's my imagination engaging with things. Of course, the other author who fascinated me was that Green Children book by Duncan Lunan, because Duncan Lunan, by nature, is not a conspiracy theorist or UFO guy, but he got fascinated with the Green Children story and had to write the definitive book on the subject. And I have never seen an instance of an author who worked so hard to attempt to prove something that by its nature is not provable. I mean, every page of that book has footnotes, and there's a very extensive bibliography, and it's a thick book, and it's a difficult read. It's a difficult thing to read. You have to be a UFO buff like me and focused on this to pay attention to the pages, because anybody else would probably get bored with it. But that book, I had to reread it after reading it, because I just never, it was all full of things that in my readings of these outrageous, contagious topics, I'd never seen this stuff before. It was all new to me. I'd never heard of pipe rolls.
Pipe rolls?
Pipe rolls. This was an important source of information, for first-hand information about life in 12th century England.
Oh.
And it fascinated me, because I didn't know you could do this. I didn't know this was doable. I would have said the past that far back is not really accessible to us. You got to have Father Ernetti's chronovisor to tell what was going on, or something like that.
Right.
So I believed. But pipe rolls are legal documents. In the Middle Ages, there was this standardized format for a standard size parchment to use for legal depositions, or let's see, the examples are deeds and depositions for court cases, and just various legal documents would go on this standard form of parchment, and the parchments would be rolled up and tied, and modern scholars call them pipe rolls, because the rolls look like pipes, or supposedly they look like pipes. Every time I've ever rolled up a piece of paper like that, the edges would bulge out. So I don't know. I don't really. There are no photographs showing what a pipe roll looks like, but they're called pipe rolls, and they've never been completely modern scholars. It's time-consuming and difficult to go over all these things and try to record them all in other media to preserve them. But what Duncan Lunan did, or attempted to do, or is still doing, or spent many years doing, was go over pipe rolls to find principal characters in this Green Children story and trace their lives through their engagement with the legal system. Because important people were often called on to testify in court, or they were often called on to witness a signing of a document, things of that nature. And he said that the society at that time Hollywood would lend you to believe that all these people just did sword fighting all the time, but actually they spent they spent a lot of time going to court.
Wow.
They were not that terribly different from modern people. I mean, the Conan the Barbarian is, to find that era, you'd have to go back even further in time.
Wow.
But the pipe rolls allowed him to trace the lives of some of these people because he was convinced he had identified who the green girl was. There were 2 children who were green colored, who were found by these peasants who spoke no known language and dressed in strange clothing. Duncan Lunan takes the premise that they were here from some other world, because you just don't see many people with green skin. not very common.
Right.
But the boy died. He became melancholic and homesick, and he couldn't live. He died, and but the girl lived on and became an adult.
Wow.
Duncan Lunan believed that he had identified her and could trace the details of her life after she comes to Earth.
Interesting.
And that's the whole premise behind the Green Children story, and the book was called Children from the Sky by Duncan Lunan.
Wow.
And of all of the sort of UFO extraterrestrial type things I've come across, this one was the strangest and most unique.
Yeah.
Because other authors have a easier time of it than Duncan Lunan had trying to reconstruct all this stuff.
Sure. Pipe rolls. I mean, it sort of reminds me of the way that ancient Indian in India, the way they recorded things on reeds. They have these reeds that like last forever, and it's this tiny writing on it, and from thousands of years ago. Very interesting. So pipe rolls. Interesting. Well, we have another caller is waiting in the wings here. Let's bring in BBP Demand, back by popular demand. It's his full name. Are you there, BBP?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's up?
Hey, how's it going, man? Aaron, everyone. Oh, wait. Hang on. Aaron, Austin, in the chat. How are you guys all doing?
Okay.
How are you doing?
Good. Doing good. Yeah, I'll probably let you guys do most of the talking. Sounds like you guys kind of got it handled, but I figured I'd just call in and say what's up and yeah.
All right.
You know how I roll sometimes. I was kind of rolling like.
All right. So, have you ever heard of the Green Kids story, BBP?
No, I haven't heard of that.
They found these 2 kids. They were green. Their faces, their whole skin was green. They were eating beans. They were from some other place, and they didn't know where they were from. So that's what Austin was just talking about. Very interesting story.
So they were green complexion and they were eating beans? Is that what
Green beans.
What happened?
Green beans, yeah, I think so. Isn't that right, Austin?
Well, the children were discovered by peasants near this town called Woolpit, and captured by the peasants, who were amazed. They didn't know quite what was going on here, and the children couldn't speak English, couldn't speak any known language. They couldn't communicate with them. Children wouldn't refuse to eat. They wouldn't eat anything until somebody brought them beans, and they would eat the bean vegetables. They would eat anything that was green colored. And later on, this girl who survived learned to speak English, and she could communicate. When she told her story, the place they were from, anything edible had to be colored green. If it wasn't naturally green, it would be dyed that color to show that it was edible.
Wow.
But, interesting. So there's like green bean, peas, things of this nature, or something?
Evidently, but what's disturbing there is the girl, under Earth diet, a normal diet, her skin coloration changed to what we would perceive as normal. And so that green coloration was artificial. That she'd been dyed green at some point in her life. Well, according to her testimony, the place she was from, anything green is on the menu. That has some very disturbing implications about the status of human beings on this place she was from.
Oh, because green people.
Whoa.
Yeah. Now, you said that the other foods that weren't green, they would dye them green. So maybe if they're eating a steady diet of this green dye, like maybe they have, acorn squash, they want to eat it. Oh, we got to make it green. So they're consuming all this dye. Maybe it's coming out of their skin.
Well, yeah, there's a number of explanations, rational sounding explanations for this. If you don't, nobody's twisting your arm saying you have to agree with Duncan Lunan, but he takes this premise that these two children were somehow teleported here from some other world because of what the girl had said about where she was from. He goes with that and explores possibilities, what he considers possibilities, which other readers others might comment and not believe. But the girl said that where she was from, it was like a deep valley, and it was perpetual twilight. They didn't have day or night. It was twilight all the time in this valley.
Wow.
And on one side, the cliff side forming one side of the valley, if you went up to the top of the cliff, the landscape beyond the valley was perpetually lit with sunlight. And then on the other side of the valley, if you went up the side of the valley there and looked out, the other side was perpetually dark, night. And this valley in between was perpetually twilight. Well, this is a real life, according to the author, real life twilight zone. And he says this is the clincher about this being some other planet, because conditions like that cannot exist here on Earth. This has to be some other world where maybe the sunlit side is uninhabitable for being too hot, and maybe the dark side is uninhabitable for being too cold and it doesn't go on its axis. And that region between the two hemispheres is the only place where people could possibly live.
Wow.
Like in a deep valley in that area is the only place where you really could live something like a normal life. And that's how her people lived, according to her.
Wow.
And this was in the 12th century. People in those days did not have concepts of astronomy that would have permitted such concepts. And yet there they are. So Duncan Lunan, the author, says, Lunan, Lunan.
Duncan Lunan. That was a question there.
Yeah, he's from Glasgow, Scotland. He's
Glasgow, Scotland.
a teacher there, but I think he's retired now. He would not be a young man. But anyway,
I think when you're in Scotland, you have to drink scotch. I think that's the law there, right?
Most definitely. If it was from Ireland, it has to have potatoes in it.
There you go.
They have like,
Yeah.
No, but I have a question on what you were just talking about here, Aaron. Or Austin. I'm sorry. Haven't people talked about gray people and everything, and wasn't astrology kind of done way before the 12th century? I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking as a listener.
The concept of there being other planets is really Copernican. The idea that to ancient people, the planets were these points of light up in the sky that moved around a bit compared to stars, and that's really about as sophisticated as it could have gotten without a telescope or without some knowledge brought from outside. the whole ancient astronauts theory hypothesis comes when you have these instances where somebody seemed to know something that they couldn't have learned by working on it themselves. They wouldn't have had the means to study it themselves. They wouldn't have had a telescope. Telescopes hadn't been invented yet.
Or had they?
Okay. Right. Yeah. Like, look, there's a saying, like, I agree with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a saying that, like, back in the day, you know, like, there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new that we haven't seen already before. And it seems like things have kind of like repeated themselves. We see that we're in a new age of technology or something, but I mean, is this the first time that this has happened?
Yeah,
You know, I mean, that's what I have to ask.
they
You know,
found these
like,
lenses. They found like these lenses, but they don't know if they were part of a telescope. Ancient lenses, so they could have had that.
yeah. I mean,
There are some hints, not anything explicit, but
Right.
or anything indisputable, but
Right.
there we know from ancient historians that Emperor Nero, when he'd go to the watch the gladiators fight or the horse races or whatever, he had what he called what was called a seeing glass of some kind. He'd put up it to his eye, and there have been speculations that might have been some kind of monocular or binocular or something,
Mhm.
that possibly he had something that could function that way. You see, what happened was there had been an age of technological discovery during the so-called Hellenistic period after Alexander's conquests, but before Rome. The Romans kind of put a damper on human progress, really, but there were some people like, let's see, what was his name? The Archimedes, the great inventor and mathematician and philosopher of ancient Syracuse in Sicily. Archimedes, who was perhaps one of the greatest geniuses in history. Archimedes invented calculus.
Mhm.
A form of calculus which he was using, and which later on the Christian Church considered to be witchcraft.
Oh, really?
Oh well, the idea of the infinitesimal used in that math was considered not considered by anyone in today's world, but in the past was considered a form of deviltry of some kind.
Wow.
interesting. I never even heard that.
But Archimedes had this form of calculus, but there are famous stories about things he invented. And when the Romans attacked Syracuse, Archimedes dreamed up all kinds of war machines for the Syracusans to use to try to defend their city. And all these machines were set up on the battlements of the walled city to wreck and destroy the Roman ships. And it's been said that Archimedes had created a form of cannon that they could shoot. I don't know if I really believe that, but he had it wasn't based on gunpowder. It was supposed to be based on steam power.
Hmm.
He had a steam powered cannon that could shoot cannonballs.
Wow.
I can see that. I can see it.
I can't.
But
Put enough pressure behind something, it'll launch it. You know, I can see it. Yeah.
the fascinating thing about the steam powered cannon is that a thing like that, actually, that's a bit more complicated than plain old gunpowder.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah, most definitely.
that's
Yeah.
I mean, if he's smart enough to build that, they're not far removed from being able to create gunpowder weapons. They didn't get them, but it would have been within their reach, if not their grasp. And it's things like that. And of course, the Romans took the Romans were relentless, and they took the city anyway. And the Roman soldier killed Archimedes, and that was that.
But I mean, wait. So we're talking like 1,400 years ago. This happened, right?
Well,
Somewhere around
the
there?
siege of
Like, I don't know.
Syracuse was something like I think 5200 BC, sometime in that era.
Yeah, I was really young
Okay.
I was so young at that time. I
Oh, really? Way back.
don't remember much from back then. Was
But
pretty-
anyway, he was the greatest mathematician of his day. Of course, later on in Alexandria, the 4th century AD, the philosopher Hypatia was the first. She might not have been the first woman mathematician, but she's the first woman mathematician that we have a record of.
Oh.
And she taught geometry and mathematics and astronomy. Was considered to be the wise woman of Alexandria. But she was a pagan at a time when the Christians were taking over, and she got lynched by a Christian mob, considered her a witch. But things like this would have put a damper on any technological progress possible in those days.
Now, didn't a woman mathematician also invent algebra?
Oh, well, okay.
Maybe not. Maybe
I guess she needed some support.
Here you go.
Oh, we got it now.
Oh boy, it's Friday night, I think. Must be.
Yeah. It's time to party, fellas.
Time to get the potato gun out.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, just like spud it out there.
The weirdest piece of out-of-place technology belongs to that same era of the 200 BC, thereabouts. There was a Greek island called Antikythera, where there had been this ancient shipwreck, and they were recovering statues and things from the shipwreck, and the archaeological curiosities they found were some corroded pieces of bronze that had originally been in a hardwood box of some kind. And when these were later analyzed, it took time to make sense out of this, but the bronze pieces were all gear wheels, and it was all a complicated piece of clockwork that was an astronomical model of the sky.
Oh, that's right.
That could have been used as a predictive calendar to show positions of the planets at a given time in the future. This would have been an aid if you were an astrologer casting horoscopes, but or it could have been a kind of calendar timekeeping thing, or just a kind of curiosity. But this was the way these gears worked, an analog computer, and it's built by some Greek around 100 BC, 200 BC, in that range. And of course, there's speculation. It could have been Archimedes, except we've attributed so many things to Archimedes. It seems more likely it was somebody else, and he belonged to a culture where there were some very clever people and some very smart people who were doing real research. Real science was going on.
I think it was Archimedes' nephew, Sparkimedes. I think that's who it was. Sparkimedes. Just kidding. Here's that thing, that old Greek calculator they found, or that in that shipwreck, that they rebuilt it actually, and it is like a computer.
There have been several different attempts to recreate it. I've seen documentaries on television about the thing, and they vary in details, but there seems a general agreement now that nobody's really completely reconstructed it yet. It was more complicated than the early researchers thought it was, and it could be more.
May I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
I mean, they've talked. A friend of mine gave me like a thought or a process or something like that. I don't have no proof. I don't really have nothing, right? It's just all speculation, conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. That Solomon was actually the first person to actually build a computer. Like Solomon from the Bible. You know what I mean? Like, he was able to like trap demons. He was able to do these different things. He was able to like control things. I mean, God gave him wisdom. So I mean, like, we don't even know what wisdom would really like consist of if like God just like smacked it to you, you know what I mean, instantly. But I mean, like, and there's a lot of things even in the Bible and everything, like, you know, like there's a lot of like weird tales, and it doesn't seem like Solomon, like even with all his wisdom and everything, that he was the best king ever, right? But so there's like speculation that he did like computer type stuff, you know what I mean, like, and there was enough gold around then to even do it, you know what I mean, like if you art things in a certain way, maybe we don't even understand it right now, right? But I mean, like, I don't know, you arc it a certain way, you put enough like energy into it, and your whole temple's gold or something. Could this not be a power station almost? Could this not be something of like relevance, or it could like, and if you do the right summonings or something and this and that, like, could you not make something happen? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's not against the thought. I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying, like, just for like thought, you know, speculation. Like I said,
it's not in the Bible, but in the traditions of the Near East, there are beings called jinn, or the genie. So these kind of magical. They're not exactly demons, but they're a form of intelligent life. That's not human, and have magical powers according to the legends of the people.
Yeah.
And the tradition, it's not in the Bible, but the tradition is that King Solomon was given the wisdom by God to control the jinn, because the jinn were a threat to humanity. Left alone, they were too powerful to leave them loose. Solomon could capture jinn and entrap them and control them. And he used jinn to build the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem. And Solomon was using a written language of sigil signs, which allow him to control the demons. One of them is the so-called Seal of Solomon. That's a kind of a more intricate stylized,
and I think this kind of goes into the Kabbalah and everything, right? Too.
Yeah, that there are writings that are esoteric writings. By or for certain Jews who which go into some detail on this subject. But like I say, it is not in the Bible. It's not.
Yeah, it's not in the Bible, but it's like text from
a Bible verse
outside of it. Yeah,
supports.
I heard that
and that's why I say, like, it's just like, it's kind of a like, I'm not saying it's a truth or something, and I don't want anyone to say that like I said that this was this, but it was just, I was bringing up like a thought, like, on what it was like bringing on. So I don't know.
Well, a typical story of a jinn would be you find this mysterious bottle and you uncork it, and then this big cloud comes out and forms the figure of a giant man that might be kind of translucent or glowing or something, but obviously not exactly a flesh and blood natural being. And that would be a jinn that King Solomon had trapped and forced to go into that bottle to live, and the on the bottle cap would be this sigil seal. That was the seal that put this being under magical control. So it's forced to live inside the bottle. So that's the way. That's the framing. That's the framing myth of finding a jinn.
Well, I think they had to keep him in that bottle, segregated away from his friend Tonic, because when those two got together,
those can really do a number on your soul.
Yeah.
But of course, there's the other side of that coin. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books claim that gin and tonic is actually found universally. Every bar in the galaxy, you can order a gin and tonic.
Oh, really?
That's
You
why they
don't even
call it
have
a
to.
spirit.
You don't even have to know the local language to ask the bartender for it.
Yeah, like I want a vodka. Wait, what is it called? A spirit? What's a whiskey? A spirit, right? Like at the end of the day, like
Yeah, that's why I don't drink.
mm,
I don't drink anymore. 81 was the last time I drank. Well,
I should probably stop, but
I can handle beer, but anything stronger than that, it just knocks me out.
fair enough.
But even the beer habit is expensive and a bit debilitating. My
But I
favorite
mean, like,
is Irish
even-
Guinness, and that is expensive. That's
But I mean, even
a
like,
bad habit. Oh Lord.
they call it barley pop. Yeah.
So let's call it predictive programming, right? Like, even Aladdin or something. You know, a genie comes out of a bottle and it gives you wishes or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is all a thing. You know what I mean? This isn't just like, this wasn't out of coincidence or something. It didn't just happen, and Disney, and we know Walt Disney was like a Satanist and everything else, and he was all about this type of shit. Excuse my French. You know what I mean? I don't know. It seems like it all kind of plays into something, like from even the old text and everything to what they're like saying to us now, and even what is happening now. You know what I mean? Like, look at it. Like, I'm not gonna go into everything or nothing.
The esoteric traditions, they have different narratives will have these points in common, these common themes, these common ideas.
Yep.
Now in the
Seems very repetitive.
Late 16th, early 17th century, a man in England named John Dee, with his assistant, an Irishman named Edward Kelly, supposedly went through a bunch of procedures for calling up and communicating with angels and demons, and they had a language of sigils, and the premise behind this is similar to the Solomon story, but it doesn't directly reference it. But they would use sigil signs for this communication with some kind of non-human, non-terrestrial entities of some kind, which supposedly they were successful at doing, allegedly. I've tried to research that a little, but the things they communicated in their writings from these beings, when I read this stuff, I was not impressed. It didn't ring true to me, but there are a lot of people who take this story very seriously.
Interesting.
That man, Edward Kelly, the Irish guy, was essentially an out-and-out grifter. I mean, he was a con artist, but Dr. John Dee was extremely serious about his work, and he may have been the model for Shakespeare's Prospero in the what's the play? The Tempest. The Tempest by Shakespeare. The wizard Prospero may have been based on John Dee.
Huh. Well, you're a lot more knowledgeable on that than I am. I can't say all that, but I will say that there is still sigil magic, and there's still magic and everything that's being used today, against the populace, if you will, like putting a spellcraft on them or something. You know what I mean? And it's those that want to accept it. And if you see 80% of the populace, they accept it, don't they?
I don't know.
I don't really know about percentages, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I
if
don't
there
know.
were not
I mean,
people
like,
out there
let's say even
who
like
would take
kids,
John
Disney, and
D very seriously
everything,
now.
and all that. Like, I don't know, like seeing the dark magic, and they probably know more than we know that they're actually telling us. I don't know. Like, maybe it's kind of conspiracy or something, but I mean, at the same point, I mean, I don't know. Over the years and everything, and I see it, I don't know. It just seems something's off, you know?
I had that feeling at watching Joe Biden's inaugural, where there were all these women there who were friends of the Bidens who were wearing identical or nearly identical purple dresses.
I mean, they even did
Supposedly.
it. Then they do it. Okay, hopefully hopefully this doesn't get banned or something. But didn't we even see this with like 6, 8 females of the Congress walk into Trump's like where he was going to get impeached, and they just sat there, and they were all wearing white.
Well,
Like,
supposedly
you know what I
these
mean? Like,
women
I'm just saying, like,
allegedly part of some kind of cult of Luciferians, they're called. I'm not sure I take it. I'm not sure I believe it, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't heard that, but
Luciferians. They don't think that Lucifer and Satan are the same character. They see
I don't
Lucifer
either.
as this angelic being who was responsible for teaching us civilization, supposedly.
I mean, there is a difference even in the Bible. Like, you know, like Satan's called like the dragon of old, the serpent that like always does things, and then like Lucifer is the light bearer that was like brought down from heaven. Like, oh, how you fell. I mean, that's how the Bible says it. I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
the Bible
but
calls
my
Satan the dragon,
Yeah.
and then the Bible also calls Lucifer like the light bearer that fell. So
well, of course,
it's
my
not the same
fundamentalist-
character,
Yeah,
right?
my fundamentalist upbringing, I was taught they were the same thing. But
Yeah,
evidently
of
lots
course,
people
yeah.
don't believe that.
But that's why we started kind of like moving away from the church and started kind of like even if you have like a biblical background of like thinking in life, like it's not going to be what the church tells you or what this like pastor told you or something, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be different. Like you know what, I even went to church and everything, and I sat here and watched the Disney movies and all this other stuff while they have witchcraft and everything else in Disney movies, right? Overall, right? So we're gonna teach against witchcraft, but we're also gonna promote it. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
what
I
made me
agree
start
with that.
asking
It doesn't make
questions,
sense
like,
to-
you know what I mean? Like,
contradictory messages to children is always a bad
yeah.
thing. But when I was young, popular images of witchcraft were like TV shows like Bewitched, where it was kind of
Yeah.
innocent and not
Or
really.
Dream of Genie.
Yeah,
Or whatever. I think
Dream of
Aaron was
Genie.
just pulling that up. Yeah.
we had that
You
up.
know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But I mean, it was not. It did not have overtones of Luciferianism or Satanism or such in those days. It was pretty innocent and just
Yeah.
pretty harmless.
I
in
think
those
that's
days.
how they kind of promote it, though, honestly. Like,
there's a
they
school of thought
promote
that
it as
says-
innocent, and it's fun, and it's cool. Or,
That-
like, you know, like, I wish
School-
I had a genie or something. If I was in the 70s or something as a kid, like a boy growing up, like 10 years old or something, like, well, I dream of genie too.
Yeah, well,
You know,
that's you're really dreaming of Barbara Eden there, I think.
Yeah, well,
Or more or less, but
so how innocent is it then?
yeah, well,
You know what I
there's
mean?
a
Like,
school of
oh,
thought that just says that any interest in the occult is you're getting on this slippery slope, and it'll start out innocent to begin with, but you're slipping downhill.
Yeah.
Of course, by that school of thought, I'm pretty lost myself because I obsess over UFOs.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, James Rubrak. Thank you for correcting me on that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that is.
I appreciate that. No, it was the State of the Union address. You're correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, folks, we're coming up on 2 hours, and we want to keep her under 2 hours for the show here. So I think we're gonna wrap this baby up. Any last words, BBP demand? You want to say?
I don't really have anything else. Like, what
Okay.
somebody else does. I don't know.
All right. Well, then, good night, buddy. Take it easy.
Good night.
Good night. Austin, what about you?
Oh, just there was an old movie. The last line was, "Keep watching the skies."
Oh yeah, keep watching the skies. Yeah, keep your heads up.
Definitely. Don't look down. Look up.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on Monday. Remember, if you are my Facebook friend, I'm not on there anymore. They're playing some kind of trick on me. Either I was hacked or something, so I won't be there. But you can see me here next Monday. Until then, peace in.
Good night, Aaron.